yena characharam tatpadam darshitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Ajnanati Nirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Stavaram Chandanam Vyaktam Yati Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhavachi Japiyat Sarvam Trilokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sarvashruti Shiroratna Virajita Padam Pujaha Vedantam Puja Suryoya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chaitanya Shashvata Shanto Vyomatito Niranjanaha Vindunada Kalatita Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jnana Shakti Samarudha Tattvamala Vibhushitaha Mukti Mukti Pradata Cha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Aneva Janma Samprapta Karma Bandha Vidahine Atma Jnana Pradhanena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shoshanam Bhava Sindosha Yapanam Sara Samparaha Guru Padodakam Sanya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nagurodikam Tattvam Nagurodikam Tapaha Tattvajnanat Param Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Manata Shri Jagannatha Madguru Shri Jagadguru Mamatma Sarvabhutatma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Guru Radhiranadishya Guru Paramadevata Guru Parataram Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidyadravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva.
Swami Vishwananda Kripa Sindhunatha
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 Parasato Apani Kripa Apani Kripa Apani Kripa
Parasado Apani Kripa Apani Kripa Apani Kripa.
Swami Vishwananda Premavatara
Swami Vishwananda Premavatara
Swami Vishwananda Premavatara
Swami Vishwananda Premavatara
Parasato Apani Prem Apani Prem Apani Prem
Parasado Apani Prem Apani Prem Apani Prem.
Swami Vishwananda Shakti Shakti Pradayaka
Swami Vishwananda Shakti Pradayaka
Swami Vishwananda Shakti Pradayaka
Swami Vishwananda Shakti Pradayaka
Parasato Apani Shakti Apani Shakti Apani Shakti
Parasaro Apani Shakti Apani Shakti Apani Shakti
Swami Vishwananda Shanti Pradayaka
Swami Vishwananda Shakti Pradayaka
Swami Vishwananda Shanti Pradayaka
Swami Vishwananda Shakti Pradayaka
Parasato Apani Shanti Apani Shanti Apani Shanti
Parasado Apani Shanti Apani Shanti Apani Shanti
Swami Vishwananda Bhaktavatsala
Swami Vishwananda Bhaktavatsala
Swami Vishwananda Bhaktavatsala
Swami Vishwananda Bhaktavatsala
Parasato Apani Shakti Apani Bhakti Apani Bhakti
Parasado Apani Bhakti Apani Bhakti Apani Bhakti
Parasato Apani Bhakti Apani Bhakti Apani Bhakti
Parasado Apani Bhakti Apani Bhakti Apani Bhakti
Swami Vishwananda Kripa Sindhunaka
Swami Vishwananda Kripa Sindhunaka
Swami Vishwananda Kripa Sindhunaka
Swami Vishwananda Kripa Sindhunaka
Parasato Apani Kripa Apani Kripa Apani Kripa
Parasado Shakti.
Barasadho apani Shakti, apani Shakti, apani Shakti.
Barasado apani Shakti, apani Shakti, apani Shakti.
Paramahamsa Bhakta Vatsala,
Swami Vishwananda Bhakta Vatsala.
Swami Vishwananda Bhakta Vatsala,
Swami Vishwananda Bhakta Vatsala.
Swami Vishwananda Bhakta Vatsala,
Swami Vishwananda Bhakta Vatsala.
Swami Vishwananda Bhakta Vatsala,
Swami Vishwananda Bhakta Vatsala.
Parasadho apani bhakti, apani bhakti, apani bhakti.
Barasado apani bhakti, apani bhakti, apani bhakti.
Swami Vishwananda Kripa Sindhunada,
Swami Vishwananda Kripa Sindhunada.
Swami Vishwananda Kripa Sindhunada,
Swami Vishwananda Kripa Sindhunada.
Parasadho apani kripa, apani kripa, apani kripa.
Barasado apani kripa, apani kripa, apani kripa.
Swami Vishwananda Prema Avatara,
Swami Vishwananda Prema Avatara.
Swami Vishwananda Prema Avatara,
Swami Vishwananda Prema Avatara.
Swami Vishwananda Prema Avatara,
Swami Vishwananda Prema Avatara.
Parasadho apani prema, apani prema, apani prema.
Barasado apani prema, apani prema, apani prema.
Parasadho apani prema, apani prema, apani Om Avatarashaya Namaha,
Om Vishamaya Namaha. Om Nirvakarya Samudiyataya Namaha. Om Sukshmatanave Namaha. Om Chinmayaya Namaha. Om Guru Murtaye Namaha. Om Sundaraya Namaha. Om Sulochanaya Namaha. Om Sumukhaya Namaha. Om Charulhasaya Namaha. Om Keshavaya Namaha. Om Padmabhujaya Namaha. Om Mandagamanaya Namaha. Om Sharambaradharine Namaha. Om Ramaya Namaha. Om Mandir Sapakaya Namaha. Om Shri Bhutabhrteshwarnath Namaha. Om Gayatri Ajvane Namaha. Om Arpanasikarakaya Namaha. Om Vishnu Pujakaya Namaha. Om Namo Narayanaiti Mantrapasakaya Namaha. Om Swaramayaya Namaha. Om Madhurakantaya Namaha. Om Krishna Sankirtana Lulupaya Namaha. Om Stotra Priyaya Namaha. Om Idabashine Namaha. Om Bhagmine Namaha. Om Chitrakala Visharadaya Namaha. Om Ratadharaya Namaha. Om Sarave Namaha. Om Jagatpantaya Namaha. Om Sarvalokahitaya Namaha. Om Bhakta Priyaya Namaha. Om Surtaya Namaha. Om Anukulaya Namaha. Om Neyaya Namaha. Om Sudarshanaya Namaha. Om Bhakta Vatsalaya Namaha. Om Prema Murtaye Namaha. Om Shubhekshanaya Namaha. Om Pritivardhanaya Namaha. Om Swastidayakaya Namaha. Om Tarakaya Namaha. Om Anugrahaya Namaha. Om Vardhanaya Namaha. Om Architaya Namaha. Om Arkhaya Namaha. Om Siddhi Pradaya Namaha. Om Janardhanaya Namaha. Om Manoharaya Namaha. Om Mahakshaya Namaha. Om Siddheshwaraya Namaha. Om Bhasmabhushitaya Namaha. Om Atmalingaya Namaha. Om Lingakshana Protsakaya Namaha. Om Siddhi Sadanaya Namaha. Om Madhavaya Namaha. Om Omkaropasakaya Namaha. Om Sukshmaya Namaha. Om Vishokaya Namaha. Om Satvikaya Namaha. Om Samadarshine Namaha. Om Dakshaya Namaha. Om Achityaya Namaha. Om Niramkaraya Namaha. Om Nirmohaya Namaha. Om Anyagraya Namaha. Om Chitakrodaya Namaha, Om Vinayashilaya Namaha, Om Savashaya Namaha, Om Kushalaya Namaha, Om Shamaya Namaha, Om Satyarmaya Namaha, Om Nirvikalpaya Namaha, Om Viraktaya Namaha, Om Atindraya Namaha, Om Satyasandaya Namaha, Om Pavitraya Namaha, Om Madhurasvabhavaya Namaha, Om Suranandaya Namaha, Om Nandanaya Namaha, Om Prasanatmane Namaha, Om Bhaktadilaye Namaha, Om Sakshaye Namaha, Om Samatmaye Namaha, Om Sadayogine Namaha, Om Haraye Namaha, Om Sutapaya Namaha, Om Samyaya Namaha, Om Guyaya Namaha, Om Vimuktatmaya Namaha, Om Gabiraya Namaha, Om Guptaya Namaha, Om Atmaramaya Namaha, Om Srinivasaya Namaha, Om Devaya Namaha, Om Dutidaraya Namaha, Om Danyaya Namaha, Om Gurave Namaha, Om Duradikramaya Namaha, Om Gahanaya Namaha, Om Bhagavate Namaha, Om Harisharanamargadarshakaya Namaha, Om Kutasthajagartakaya Namaha, Om Avigrayaya Namaha, Om Salamata Samatyaya Namaha, Om Shamaikata Bhavavadakaya Namaha, Om Priyavatara Sri Vishwananda Swami Namaha. Ato Deva Avantu No Yato Vishnur Vichakrame Pradivya Saptadamavi Idam Vishnur Vichakrame Vedani Dade Padam Samodamasya Bhagum Sure Trini Pada Vichakrame Vishnur Gopa Ada Abhyaha Tato Dharmani Dharyene Vishnu Karmani Pashyata Yato Vritani Pashpashe Indrasya Yujasaka Tat Vishnoro Paramam Paragum Sada Pashyanti Suryaha Diveva Chakshuratatam Tad Vipraso Vipanyavo Jagrabhagum Sasamindate Vishnoya Paramam Padam. Gurudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishwananda Prachodayate Om Premataraya Vidmahe Satgurudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishwananda Prachodayate Om Premataraya Vidmahe Satgurudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishwananda Prachodayate. Vajradutta Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsariturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsariturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsariturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Shri Krishna Vishnu Madhusudana Ketavare Narayana Achyuta Trivikrama Chakrapane
Devyadi Sarjadhara Sridhara Vasudeva Gopala Krishna Haraye Suprabhatam
Shri Rukmini Pavanasa Hare Murare Radesha Gopa Shisurupa Brahmadi Vanya Shri Varakashaya Vaikunta Pade Bhuvane Kamurte Gopala Deva Haraye Suprabhatam Veena Krite Kamatarupa Varaha Murte Vedikramaya Guhane Bhrurama Rama Shri Rama Krishna Yadunandana Kalpi Rupa Gopala Krishna Haraye Nama Suprabhatam Govinda Madhava Mukunda Paraparesha Damodara Jadarananda Kadari Shori Gopa Gopi Jana Sankrita Dina Bando Gopi Jana Priya Hare Nama Suprabhatam Shri Rakti Shai Bhutakali Patalpa Shai Sadbhakta Russadana Shai Ramanga Shai Shri Gopa Vama Vadatalpa Sukadi Shai Gopa Vallabha Hare Nama Suprabhatam Shri Kashyapati Sukanarada Gautamani Brahmarshi Sangamani Sangama Bharatesho Tishtanti Devatava Darshana Bhagya Heto Gopala Shekharaye Tava Suprabhatam Mandara Jadi Tulasida Lamanya Kanyaye Maryani Anjali Pune Samura Haranti Tishtanti Padmavadadara Tale Munindra Radha Manoharaye Tava Suprabhatam Vedatrayam Padani Gautamakana Guya Jayanti Sadgunagano Varadasa Vargaha Sankirtayanti Tava Nama Kada Vishesha Shri Naradani Rishaya Tava Suprabhatam Govardhanodharana Gopa Kishora Gopa Gopi Janamrita Suresha Bhavani Poda Sri Lokya Mohana Sumangala Divya Deha Shri Rukmini Shavarada Tava Suprabhatam Shri Vatsa China Sharanagara Parijata Bhakti Vanjana Kripakara Dina Bando Divyanta Gayati Janapriya Divya Rupa Shri Nanda Gopadanaya Tava Suprabhatam Padmaksha Padma Muna Padma Nara Prameya Palmalaya Sharuda Padma Nivasa Shori Padmotpavati Surasevira Pada Padma Padmadinataraye Tava Suprabhatam Vrindatale Viraranaya Mahendra Vanya Kandarpadarpa Haratya Sudesha Rupa Chandrananaya Siddha Chandana Ripna Deha Govinda Yadava Hare Tava Suprabhatam Shri Nandanandana Yashoda Kumara Tira Mayanga Dina Davichona Supushpahara Niram Budasa Surarira Ramavihara Gopala Deva Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Vapsi Janpavati Satya Sugandhi Padra Shri Mitra Vinda Divasa Prabhu Putri Kadyahe Ishtanti Divya Bhavane Tava Sevanara Gopi Gana Priya Hare Tava Suprabhatam Shri Krishna Achyutananda Mukunda Shori Radha Manohara Janardana Chakrapane Namani Divya Munayurna Nishambadanti Kami Muhurta Samaye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Krishna Suprabhatam Ye Patanti Yahanisham Bhuri Kritan Mahapapa Shri Krishna Grahe Tokam Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha
Anadiradi Govinda Sarvakarana Karana Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Chintamani Prakara Satma Sukalpa Vriksha Lakshavriteshu Suravira Palayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Kvamantamaravindatalaya Taksham Paravatam Samasidham Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpakotikamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chandrakala Sadvanamaya Vamshi Radhangadam Pranaya Kelikala Vilasam Shamam Tribangalalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Asya Sakalendriya Viddimanti Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Saduchvala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitamachyutamanadi Manantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanamcha Vedeshu Dulabhamadulabhamatmabhakta Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Pantastu Koti Shadavatsara Sampragamyo Vayoradapi Manaso Muni Pungavanam Sobhyasti Atrapada Sinya Vachinkya Tattve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ekopya Sara Chaitum Jagadam Nakoti Yaschaktirasti Jagadam Nachayaya Dantaha Andantarasta Paramanuchayam Darastam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yad Bhavadvamika Diyo Manujastateva Samprapya Rupa Mahima Sanayana Bhushaha Shaktir Yameva Nigame Pratitestuvanti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitavis Tavirya Eva Nijarupantaya Kalavihi Goloka Eva Nivasadya Kilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanchana Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadeva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shyama Sundaramachintya Gunasvarupa Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Ramadimurti shukalani yamena tishta. Nanavatara makaron bhuvaneshu kintu. Krishna svayam samabhavat paramapumanyo. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Yasya prabhavato jagananda koti. Kodishvashesha vasudhari vibhuti vinam. Tabramanishkalamananta ashesha buddham. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Maya hi asya jagaranda shatani sute. Tregunyata drishaya veda hitayamana. Sattvahalam vipara sattva vishuddha sattva. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Ananda chinmaya rasatmanaya manashu. Ya pradinam pratipalam smaravam-upetya. Nilayitena bhuvanani jaya jajashram. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Golokanam nijadam nikale chatasya. Devi Mahesha Haridhama Suteshu Deshu. Tete Prabhava Nichaya Vihidaschayena. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Srishti pralaya sadhana shakti reka. Chayeva yasya bhuvanani viparti durga. Echana rupamapi yasya chayesha tesa. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Kshiram yatadadi vikara vishesha yogat. Sanjayatena hitata pratakasti hetoho. Yasham bhutamapi tatha samupeti kayat. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Nirvakshireva hitasam charamabhyupetya. Jivayate vivida hetu samana dharma. Yastadriyeva hicha vishnutaya vibhati. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Yakarana valachare bhajati smayoga. Nidram ananda jagadanda saromagupaha. Adhara shakti mavalamya param samurti. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Yasyeka nishvasita kalamatabalamya. Jivanti lomapiracha jagadandanata. Vishnurmahansaya yasya kaladishesho. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Bhasvanya jasma shakaleshu nijeshu tejaha. Shriyam kiyat prakatayam yapitat vadatra. Brahmaya esha jagadanda vidhana karta. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Yatpada pallavayugam vinadaya kumbha.
Advipranama samaye saganadiraja Eknam vihantum alamasya jagatrayasya Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Agnir mahi gaganam ambum marudishascha Kalastatatma manasini jagatrayani Yasmat bhavanti vibhavanti vishanti amcha Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yam chakshuresha savita sakala grahanam Rajas samasta suramurti rashesha dinjaha Yasya naya pramati sambrida kala chakro Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Dharmotha papanichayan shrutayastapamsi Brahmadikita patagadhavayaschajivaha Yatata matra vibhavam prakata prabhavam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yasvitra gopamata vindamahusakarma Bandana rupa palabhajanamatanoti Dharmadi nirdahati kintu chabhakti vacha Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yam krodha kama sahaja pranayali bhiti Vatsalya moha guru gaurava seya bhavahe Sanchintya tasya sadashintanuma purete Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarvakarana Karana Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Jai Gurudev. Good morning. So today's verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam is from Canto 7. But before I get to that verse, I want to give you a little bit of context. So this is at the beginning of Canto 7. And it starts like this. King Parikshit asks Sukadev in the first verse of Canto 7. He says, "My dear Brahmana, the Supreme Lord Vishnu, being everyone's well-wisher, is equal and extremely dear to everyone. How then did he become partial like a common man? How can a person equal to everyone be partial to someone and detrimental towards others? Lord Vishnu himself, the Supreme Lord, is the reservoir of all pleasure. Therefore, what benefit would he derive from siding with the demigods? What interest would he fulfill in this way? Since the Lord is transcendental, why should he fear the asuras, and how could he be envious of them?" So he's asking a very good question, and after he asks this question, Sukadev Goswami actually says, "King Parikshit, you ask me a very good question, right? Why does it seem like the Supreme Lord has favor over some and not others, right? Why does he chastise the demons, and why does he seem to support the devas and the devotees?" And so he responds and he says, Sukadev Goswami says, exceptionally fortunate and learned. Sorry. He says, although the Lord is always above material existence through his spiritual potency. Sorry, this is. I'm getting confused. Sukadeva Goswami responds, and he tells the story of Yudhishthira witnessing Shishupala, right? Which is the last birth of Jaya, merging into the body of Lord Krishna. And this canto also is the canto of the Leela of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad. And so it's very relevant, right? This is how the canto begins. Why does it seem like he's angry or he's judging the demons and killing demons? And so he tells the story of Shishupala, right? And that after Krishna kills Shishupala, which is the final incarnation of Jaya, that he sees his soul going into the feet of Krishna. And he says, my dear king, the conditioned soul, being in the bodily conception of life, considers his body to be his self and considers everything in relationship with the body to be his. Because he has this wrong perception of life, he is subjected to dualities like praise and chastisement. And then finally, Canto 7, Chapter 1, verse 25. Ya nibado bimano mam tadvyadyat praninam vadaha tattanadyasya kavlyayad abhyano kalitanaha padasya dhamma kurtehi himsakanasya kalpyate. The translation is, again, this is Sukadeva Goswami responding to King Parikshit. He says, the Supreme Lord has no false conception of I and mine. It is therefore incorrect to think that he feels pleasure or pain when blasphemed or offered prayers. This is impossible for him. Thus he has no enemy and no friend. When he chastises the demons, it is for their good, and when he accepts the prayers of the devotees, it is for their good. He is affected neither by praise nor blasphemy. So this is a very, very beautiful verse. I've mentioned it a couple times, if you've been following. And it seems particularly relevant recently. First of all, because Guruji has started tweeting again, or I don't know if you can call it tweeting anymore, since they changed the name. Is it zeeting? I'm not sure. But who's following Guruji on Twitter? Okay, surprising. Not as many as should be. And so if you're not, I highly, highly recommend doing so. Because Guruji, I've been with Guruji almost 9 years. And one thing that I've observed from being in his presence for so long and listening to him and being with him is that he doesn't say things plainly and clearly very often. Of course, he gives, sadhana, he gives instruction and things like this, but often how he will just talk with people and how he is you have to read between the lines. You have to pay attention very, very closely. And he will not just tell you things about himself, tell you things about yourself, or tell you in direct words, specifically what and how he is, how you are, all these things. But since he started tweeting, it's an insight. He's so clear and plain in his tweets. He's just saying things plainly and clearly very, very often. And so there was a tweet on September 25th that kind of went viral amongst Bhakti Marga. Perhaps some of you have heard it, even those who aren't following him on Twitter, because it was going around. I saw it in so many groups. And this is the tweet about, he's talking about the Guru and how we say that he's testing us, right? And so I'll just read a little bit of this tweet just so we can refresh our memories. He says, "How many times do we say that the Guru is testing us? We're going through a process. He is ignoring us," and so on. How deeply sad are these statements, and how badly it must hurt the heart of the beloved Guru. To see that the ones for whom he has pushed himself to the brink of collapsing to help have labeled his love as tests, processes, and purifications. What are these tests? What processes? What purifications? He is standing alone, loving us, and we are turning our back to him by thinking all this foolishness. Because we call something a test, does it evoke love in our hearts? Not for a second. It does the reverse. It makes us averse to it. It makes us scared, sad, and we close our hearts to him. Because can we really take more pain when we are already in pain? No. In his humility, the Guru calls it tests and purifications because he knows how we feel with the least of pains and the smallest of things that go against our desires. But what if we just stopped to seriously look at our lives? When has the Guru ever hurt us? When has he ever taken something away from us? When has he ever withheld his love from us? Not ever. Yet we call his love such horrible names. We call his sweetness sternness. We call his help tests. We call his presence distance. What do we really know of distance from the Guru? Are we going to wake up only when we don't see him in front of our eyes anymore? That terrible distance of the heart where we distance ourselves from him in every second, call him names in our heart. He feels and hears everything and takes it. Because he holds nothing but the sweetest, most patient love for us in his heart, he has waited for eternity for us to just choose him one time, to call him in love once. So, again, for all of you that are not following him on Twitter, that's an example of one of his tweets. And this is such a sweet tweet, right? And I think many people have been thinking about this, especially myself, who, when you've been close, when you are close, the role of the Sadguru is to give tests, right? That's his job. He's said so many times as well. There are so many gurus, there are so many teachers, there are so many wellness coaches in this world. And their agenda is to get something from you, whatever that might be, right? And so they're going to tell you what you want to hear. They're going to tell you that you're perfect and whatever else it is that you need to hear, that they can get something from you. The Sadguru's role is not this. He doesn't tell you what you want to hear. He tells you what you need to hear, right? Guruji has said this many times. And if that's difficult for you, if that's too hard for you to be given these, let's call them tests, that you can't handle it, that you don't understand, that's fine. Guruji says there's so many, you can go. Find somebody who will flatter you. Find somebody who will make your ego sing, right? But the trick is that in this tweet especially, right, we call them tests, but he's saying clearly here that these are not tests. Because do you think that these people who tell you all the things that you want to hear, that they really have your best interests, right? The sign of somebody that really cares for you, right? Like a parent. They want to see you succeed, advance, achieve something, and they see some limitation or they see some error. They're not going to reinforce that. They're going to try and correct you. Why? Because they actually care about you. They actually care about you advancing and you becoming better. And so Guruji is the same thing. But more than just a parent sees their child, he sees you, who you actually are, right? Not just this body, this name that We've given ourselves this persona that we think we are. How many times, how many different lives have we had? How many different personas have we had? Thousands and thousands. And here is another one that we're completely involved with, completely identified with. But Guruji sees what is behind that, right? And how meaningless, really, are these lives. We give it so much meaning and so much importance because it appears that way, but it's just one of many, many lives that are coming and going and being and dying and being born. And Guruji wants to remind us, right? It doesn't have to be like this. And you've forgotten who you are. You've forgotten the essence of yourself. And he doesn't want anything from us. All he wants is to give us that realization. All he wants is for us to remember and realize that love, that supreme love that we are in essence. Not that something that we have to achieve, that's something that we need to remember. And so, how does he do this? We have to go through the process. That is his job, right? There's another tweet that is related to this, right? These giving of tests, this giving of love, actually. And so this is from August 26th. This is another tweet that really stuck with me. He says, the process of feeling far from the Guru when he walks the earth is one that squeezes the disciple in every way. All emotions, feelings, thoughts, speech, actions, beliefs are tested because the disciple has one simple choice: to believe in the eternal presence of the Guru, being the incarnation of Bhagavan himself, or to distrust and doubt his omnipresence and feel that he is limited by the physical presence of the human body. This is the simple choice presented to the disciple. What one chooses to believe is left entirely in that person's hands. The Guru doesn't interfere with it because the disciple has to learn to live with the consequences of what one chooses. Life is all about making choices and then accepting with grace the outcome of the choices made. If at the time of making the choice, one is aware that God is there to pour his love, then those choices become simple. And at the time of facing the outcomes, also God is protecting that person. But often we forget that he is with us and don't act in surrender to his real nature. This is the growth. To feel far from the Guru may be a feeling that comes from deep within and rocks the life of the disciple. But how one chooses to go through that experience makes all the difference in the world. Does one continue to be trapped in the feelings of abandonment, rejection, and lack of love? Or does one choose to grow and trust in one's own higher self and the higher presence of the Guru? And so he's saying here that, he's saying exactly what we've been talking about, right? That he gives one of the most difficult things, right? When you make Guruji everything in your life, when you've become a devotee, when you've taken that step, initiation as a devotee, when you follow him, when you take him as your master, he becomes everything for you. And then he tests it. He strains that relationship and he distances himself from you. He's saying it here in this tweet. He removes himself, or seemingly removes himself from your life and sees how you react. And he says, I don't interfere. How do you react? Do you go outside? You run further outside and judge him and and say, why is he doesn't look at me anymore, he doesn't smile at me anymore, he doesn't treat me like he used to treat me, or whatever, anything that happens that you attribute to Guruji putting you in an uncomfortable situation, in a difficult situation? Or do you make the choice to see him inside of yourself? Do you strengthen that relationship not on the outside, but that relationship that you have with him deep within the core of your heart? But he lets you make your choice. He gives you the two options. And that's what Guruji does constantly. He's constantly giving these two options. Whether it be that he just distances himself or whatever, when he puts you in a difficult situation, he's giving you always two options. To accept it with grace, like he says in the tweet, right? And to know that God is always with you no matter what, or to judge. And, I've been put in a lot of difficult situations with Guruji in the last 9 years. He's given me a lot of tests, okay? And I didn't always perceive the love. Very often we don't, right? We call them tests because it's easier. I cannot perceive the love when he's yelling at me or disciplining me or whatever it is. I don't perceive the love, especially in that moment. But looking back, you start to see the things, right? You start to see the timeline. For example, how many of you know that there were not always satsangs in the temple? As of now, right, there are 2 satsangs, morning and evening. But it was not always like that. How many of you were aware of that? People who are here from 2019 or later probably would not be aware of that. But it was not always satsang. It was just bhajan. Everything happened like normally, bhajan, and temple prayers continued. There was no satsang. In 2019, Guruji, was it April or May, told me one day, you give Bhagavatam satsang every day now in the temple. And that's how it started. Thank God, it developed a bit. It changed a bit. He said also to Aniruddha, you do, I think to Aniruddha he said, you do Gita satsang. Some of it you do Bhagavatam satsang. And then, I think Swami Akash came and said maybe other people can do as well. And I was like, yes, please. Every day, oh my God. But he just came to me and said that, just like that to me one day. Now you give satsang. I don't think I'd ever done public speaking. I don't think I'd ever given a satsang. And so he made this situation. It was a very uncomfortable situation, right? And I remember the first time and every time since then, there's always nerves, especially the first time walking out. You're super scared, you've never done this thing before. You have to go and talk in front of people. It's not an easy thing to do. It was a very difficult situation that Guruji put me in. But now, 4 years later, I get it, let's say. I see his love in that situation that I would call a test, but actually, it's not a test. It's just his love. And he wants to see us grow and advance, right? He doesn't get anything. He doesn't get anything from us. He doesn't lose anything from us, and he doesn't get anything. What can he lose? What can he gain? Everything he's doing is for our gain. And even more than that one thing, right? You give satsangs now. And oh my God, such a process I had to go through. Oh my God, so scared, so freaking out, and could barely, whatever. Like it's Guru Adesh, you give satsangs now. Even more than that, we can see other things in our life, right? This is the amazing thing about, one of the amazing things I love about Hinduism, is that we don't just say God is all of the good things, right? What we perceive as good and what we perceive as bad. And that's what it's saying in this verse as well. What do we know about good and bad? From our limited perception, right? We have some concept, some idea of what's good and what's bad. What? What is that? Because we see this terrible depiction, this guy, this half lion, half man, ripping apart some guy. He's wearing his intestines around his neck. I remember when I first saw the picture, I was at a devotee's house. This was years before I met Guruji, a couple of years before I met Guruji. They had an image of Narasimha. What the hell is this? He's ripping a guy's abdomen open and wearing his entrails. That seems very bad, right? But what do we know? That's exactly what this verse is talking about, and this is the whole canto, is that story. Because he's making the point. Sukadeva Goswami is making the point. We see that as bad. And it seems like Narayana, seems like the Guru also, he likes some people more than he likes other people. You know, he's murdering this guy, but he's loving or praising this one. So why is that? And he's saying it's not accurate. Whatever he's doing, whether we perceive of it as good or bad, is only for one's benefit. He comes to save his devotee Prahlad for his benefit, and he kills the demon Hiranyakashipu also for his benefit, right? Yudhishthira sees Shishupala's going to the feet of Krishna. Why? If we just see that, we don't understand. But if we know in reality that it's Jaya and Vijaya and all of these things, right? So what do we know of good and bad? And so in the same way, I can say, I've talked about this a lot, my father passed away when I was 18 years old, right? That was an incredibly difficult, challenging experience that I had in my life. That I would objectively say at the time, that's a bad thing that happened. That was a very bad thing that happened. It was very, very hard for me. He died suddenly, and I had a lot of regret. One day to the next, he was there, and then he was gone. But looking back on it now, and having been with Guruji for 9 years, and knowing Guruji and knowing his teachings, I can look back on even that experience, which we would say is one of the worst things that could happen to somebody, losing somebody so close to you, that even that was for my benefit. It was the catalyst, it was the thing, it was the first step that moved me on this spiritual path and led me to meeting my Sadguru. And so, we may call them tests, we may call them whatever we want to call them, but remember, right? Keep it always clear. Because when the test is happening, it's easy to talk about it retroactively, right? It's easy to talk about it in the future or in the past. These things happen, these things, whatever. But when the test is actually presented in front of you, and you're put in a difficult situation, it also doesn't mean that Guruji comes and starts yelling at you publicly. No. He's in your life. He's going to give you tests in your life. If you've taken him as your guru, if you follow him, he's present. It's not just because when you come to the ashram, he's here, and when you leave the ashram, he leaves you. No. He's with you, and tests will come in whatever way they may come. But just remember that you don't have to perceive of them as tests, because they're not. And if you really, sincerely hold that knowledge, right, like he's saying in this tweet also, that God is with you, the grace is with you, and if you run towards that, things become very easy. Choices become simple, and the tests are no longer tests. It's just love. Jai Gurudev.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Hiranyakashipurvakshaha
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 Shilatankanakalaye
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 Ito narasimbo bharato narasimbo
Ito narasimho bharato narasimho
Ito narasimbo bharato narasimbo
Ito narasimho bharato narasimho
Yatto yatto yami tato narasimbo
Yato yato yami tato narasimho
Yatto yatto yami tato narasimbo
Yato yato yami tato narasimho
Hi narasimbo ridaye narasimbo
Bahir narasimho ridaye narasimho
Hi narasimbo ridaye narasimbo
Bahir narasimho ridaye narasimho
Narasimhadim sharanam prapadye
Narasimhamadim sharanam prapadye
Narasimhadim sharanam prapadye
Narasimhamadim sharanam prapadye
Narasimhadim sharanam prapadye
Narasimhamadim sharanam prapadye
Namaste Narasimhaya
Namaste Narasimhaya
Pralada Lada Hadayine
Radha Radayine
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha
Shilatankanakalaye
Shilatankanakalaye
Ito narasimbo bharato narasimbo
Ito narasimho bharato narasimho
Yatto yatto yami tato narasimbo
Yato yato yami tato narasimho
Hi narasimbo ridaye narasimbo
Bahir narasimho ridaye narasimho
Narasimha adim sharanam prapadye
Narasimhamadim sharanam prapadye
Narasimha adim sharanam prapadye
Narasimhamadim sharanam prapadye
Bhavakara kammalavare Nakama bhuta shringa Palita hiranyakashipu Danu pringa Keshavadita Narahari rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare
Navakara kamalavare Nakama Buddha Shringa Darita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Pringa Keshavadeta Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare
Keshavadita Narahari Rupa
Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare
Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare
Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare
Jaya Narasimhadev, 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 Jaya Narasimhadev.
Jaya Narasimhadev, 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 Jaya Narasimhadev.
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Bhakta Swarupa Jaya Prahlad Maharaj.
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Bhakta Swarupa Jaya Prahlad Maharaj.
Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Vishwananda Gurudev, 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 Vishwananda Gurudev.
Vishwananda Gurudev, 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 Shri Vishwananda Gurudev.
Vishwananda Gurudev, 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 Shri Vishwananda Gurudev.
Shri Vishwananda Gurudev, 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 Shri Vishwananda Gurudev.
Gurudev, 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 Shri Vishwananda Gurudev.
Ramanuja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Yatiraja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Ramanuja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Yatiraja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Yatindraya Karunakaraya Mangala Mangala Me. Yatindraya Karunakaraya Mangala Mangala Me. Prapatidame Karataya Mangala Mangala Me. Prapatidame Karataya Mangala Mangala Me. Ramanuja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Yatiraja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Ramanuja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Yatiraja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Saligrama Pratishtitaya Mangala Mangala Me. Saligrama Pratishtitaya Mangala Mangala Me. Tridandakari Kodakachaya Mangala Mangala Me. Tridandakari Kodakachaya Mangala Mangala Me. Ramanuja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Yatiraja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Ramanuja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Yatiraja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Rangesha Kenkaryarataya Mangala Mangala Me. Rangesha Kenkaryarataya Mangala Mangala Me. Mananataya Darine Daraya Mangala Mangala Me. Mananataya Darine
Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me
Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me
Mangala Mangala Me Om Jai Jagadisha Hare
Swami Jai Jagadisha Hare Bhakta Janon ke Sankata Bhasa Janon ke Sankata Jana Vidura Kare Om Jai Jagadisha Hare Jo Jave Bala Bhave Dukha Vinase Manata Swami Dukha Vinase Manata Sukha Sampati Garave Sukha Sampati Garave Kashamite Janaka Om Jai Jagadisha Hare Mata Pita Tuma Mere Sharanaga Umenti Saki Swami Sharanaga Umenti Saki Tuma Bina Hora Na Duja Tuma Bina Hora Na Duja Asaka Umenti Saki Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tuma Purana Paramatma Tuma Antarayani Swami Tuma Antarayani Para Brahma Parameshwara Para Brahma Parameshwara Tamasavake Swami Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tuma Karuna Ke Sagara Tuma Palana Karata Swami Tuma Palana Karata Nek Sevaka Tuma Swami Nek Sevaka Tuma Swami Kripa Karo Bharata Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tuma Ho Eka Gochara Sabake Pranapati Swami Sabake Pranapati Kisa Didi Milong Dayamaya Kisa Didi Milong Kripamaya Tuma Komen Kumati Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Dina Bandhu Tukharta Tumara Shaka Mere Swami Tumara Shaka Mere Karuna Hata Badao Karuna Hata Badao Sharana Pada Dere Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Vishaya Vikara Vidao Paparo Deva Swami Paparo Deva Shraddha Bhakti Badao Shraddha Prema Badao Santana Ki Seva Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Dana Mana Dana Tuja Hem Tera Swami Sava Kucha Hem Tera Swami Sava Kucha Hem Tera Tera Tujhko Arpan Tera Tujhko Arpan Jara Ye Mera Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Swami Jaya Jagadisha Hare Bhakta Janon ke Sankata Dasa Janon ke Sankata Jana Vidura Kare Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Mane Chakra Rakoji Giridhari Lala Chakra Rakoji Giridhari Lala Chakra Rakoji Giridhari Lala Chakra Rakoji Mane Chakra Rakoji Giridhari Lala Chakra Rakoji Giridhari Lala Chakra Rakoji Giridhari Lala Chakra Rakoji Chakra Ko Chakra Ko Chakra Koji Chakra Ko Chakra Ko Chakra Koji Mane Chakra Rakoji Giridhari Lala Chakra Rakoji Shama Mane Chakra Rakoji Giridhari Lala Chakra Rakoji Govinda Mane Chakra Rakoji Giridhari Lala Chakra Rakoji Giridhari Lala Chakra Rakoji Giridhari Lala Chakra Rakoji
Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva, Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva, Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva, Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva, Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Hari Om. Prem se bolo Lakshmi Narayana Bhagavan ki Jai. Prem se bolo Sri Bhutabhrteshwarnath Bhagavan ki Jai. Prem se bolo Shri Radha Krishna Kanhela ki Jai. Prem se bolo Bhavtala Kriya Baba ji ki Jai. Prem se bolo Shanujacharya ki Jai. Prem se bolo Sadguru Deva Sri Swami Vishwananda Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijana Vallabhaya Paraya Paramapurushaya Parakarma Mantra Yantra Tantra Oshadastra Shastrani Samaraya Samaraya Mrijor Mochaya Mochaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Dipti Jvala Pritaya Swarani Shobham Bhat Parashmai Paramane Paramjyotishe Swaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Hari Om. Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Sham Venkateramana Govinda, Gopika Jivdasmanam Govinda, Bhaktavatsala Govinda, Pundalika Varade, Eknath Namdev, Panarinath Maharaj ki, Samasta Bhakta Mandali ki, Alvaran Pulumanar Thiruvarikare, Sharana